Alright, another Tuesday stream along with a presentation for the next few months. So let's begin. But first, cards for the last few days along with Dogovan. So first off, we start off with Knuckle Cannon Dragon, Dimetria Dragon, which is a grade 2 with 10k power and the skills. Auto, when placed on rear guard, cost discard a card from hand. Look at the top cards of your deck equal to the different number of research cards in your order zone. Choose one of them and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Basically just more ways for consistent searching for research. The only problem I have with this is that it has to be different number of research, and currently we have 4 different researches. If you don't want the promo included, then 3. But other than that, it's just another way for consistent searching. Next, Great Sword of Blood, Black's Flames, Obscured. Grade 2, 10k power and skills. Count Rearguard Guardian. If there are 3 or more set orders in your order zone, this card gives us 5k power and 5k shield. Similar enough to the grade 3, except that this is actually permanent extra 5k, so that's a nice 15k beater permanent. But anyway, second skill, Glitter Eva. Count Rearguard. During a turn that this unit is placed on Rearguard by card ability, you have 3 or more research cards in your order zone. If this card attacks, it can attack all your opponent's units in the front row. Not bad, 15k beater that can attack the whole front row, which can actually annihilate some good number of units. The only thing is, it does have to be by card ability, meaning called by Eva practically, because remember, it has to be Glitter with Eva, and attacking the whole front row after that can basically be kinda a little pointless if your opponent decides to intercept with everything first. Luckily, you do have a second target, so it's not entirely too bad, and being a 15k beater is fine. Overall, it just depends on scenario. And then we have a promo, Versatile Assembler. Grade 2, 10k power and the skill is auto, when placed on rearguard, costs Soul Blast 1, look at top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 set order, reveal it, and add to your hand, and of course shuffle your deck. Another generic searcher for set orders. It's a promo generic searcher, but luckily there are other alternatives that you can use, so it isn't entirely too bad, but it can get pricey. But anyway, second skill, count rearguard once per turn. When another rearguard is placed by card ability during that turn, this unit gets boosts. Few Brandgate decks can do that, and especially the generic robot card that was in set 6 as well. And then to a double rare Cater Sanctuary card, we got Turnaround Magic Tuna Lural. Grade 2, 10k power and the skills. Auto rearguard at the end of the battle, this card attack while boosted. If your damage zone has 3 or more face down cards, cost put this to soul and counter charge 1. Basically, this is a generic Cater Sanctuary card that you can actually play for any Cater Sanctuary deck. Probably not good in Bastion because that one's focused around grade 3s, but it's generic overall that you're just getting free resources out of this card. And many Cater Sanctuary deck does use resources heavily, so it's another run in your own leisure. Next, a rare Wisdom of the Beginning to Open the World, which is a grade 2 normal order, and it's also for Cater Sanctuary, and you play it by counterblasting 1. You draw 2 cards, choose 2 cards from your hand, and call each card with grades equal or less than your Vanguard, and discard it if it's not. Basically, draw 2, call 2. Overall, it's not too bad for a generic card. Next, another rare for Cater Sanctuary, Knight of Disruption Darien. Grade 2, 10k power and skills. Auto, when placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard has a clan, costs Soul Blast 1, discard a card from your hand, choose a card from your drop zone with the same clan as your Vanguard, and put it to your hand. What you can basically do is Soul Blast your Persona Ride card, and then return that card back to your hand because you pay the cost first. Basically giving any encounter deck a way to get back their Persona Ride. So run this in your own leisure, of course. And now for the Tuesday stream along with the presentation, we're going to start with the presentation stuff because why not? So first off, here is OverDress Season 2 airing on January 14th, 2023. Here's the returning cast. I'm glad that the first season OverDress cast are returning. And then here are the OverDress cast basically returning. The only thing is basically the female characters replaced with the male characters. That kind of bothers me right there. I really hope we don't lose Megami and Tomori. And then Danji's new ace is called Diablo's Verminance Bruce. And then here are some new cast members. And here's 2 of the characters with their new boss units. And here's more cast members. And into the restriction list, Premium in V in Japan have no changes. But for Standard, we got a Monster Strike card that got hit. I don't think it's really gonna matter in the English side. For Cater Sanctuary, Dark Strain is no longer restricted. And Magnolia Elder with Inlet Pulse restriction is no longer there. Oh boy. And then one extra ruling for the Stride deck set basically is that if you're gonna run Strides, you must run the Chrono Jet Ride line basically. And that will probably be the same for Messiah. And speaking of Messiah, yes, it's confirmed that Alter Ego Messiah is going to be a copy and paste of the original G counterpart, which I don't really like, but oh well. But the crest card Alter Ego Messiah does the same exact thing practically as the Chrono Jet Dragon crest. The main difference is the third skill, of course, where during the end phase, unlock all your opponent's cards and bind it. First off, stride turn ends, and then G unit goes back to the G zone, and then Alter Ego Messiah skill activates, which lets you draw. And I actually agree with this type of skill because we cannot have permanent locking most of the time on your opponent when Vanguard is a rearguard reliant game. So I think this is a really good balance if you're trying to do the opponent lock. It's like a temporary thing rather than a permanent thing. And then for more set 9 reveals, here are the 3 new units. 2 of them already shown with characters, the third one is probably for the other character. And then we got booster set 10 with a new cross OverDress Verena. I'm not gonna lie, that one looks pretty awesome. And then we're getting another token Rambo set, like I care about that. And now to the Tuesday stream, we got the Minerva Ride Line. Here's the starter, Vivid Rabbit. Important note, this has the clan Genesis, so that will be important. In which we go to the grade 1 with AK Power, Witch of Fog's Melissa. The skill is auto. When rolled upon by a Genesis unit, look at the top 5 cards of the deck, choose 2 cards from among them and put them to soul, and of course shuffle your deck. Of course, soul charging for Genesis. Very important. But anyway, second skill, auto. When put to drop zone from your soul, if your Vanguard is Minerva, call this to the back row rear guard, and if you call it, you may soul charge 1. Genesis, like usual, focuses on soul charging and then soul blasting cards, and this is just another soul blast target, which can actually basically make you run 4 of these, which you probably will anyway because Minerva is actually going to require Genesis. And then we go to the grade 2 with 10k power, which is Witch of Ravens, Neil. Its skill is auto. When rolled upon by Genesis, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose 2 cards from among them and put them to soul, and of course shuffle your deck. So same thing as the grade 1, except this is just on the grade 2 ride line. Second skill is actually the same exact thing as the grade 1 as well. The difference is you can call this by counter blasting 1 and it could be anywhere. Believe it or not, the call anywhere does make a huge difference compared to the call only back row, because if your back row is occupied like the grade 1 needs to call from the back row, you may lose something out of it. At least this one you don't really lose something out of it, but you do lose 1 counter blast. Either way, it is a soul blast target, so there is that. Next, Omnisus Regalia Minerva, which is the grade 3 with 13 power and the skills. Count Vanguard during your turn. If your soul has a grade 3 Regalia, all your front row units get plus 5k power. You got soul charging, and that's already doable. There's also Persona Ride, which will give you the grade 3 in soul. But anyway, second skill, Count Vanguard. Once per turn, cost soul blast 1. Look at top card deck, put that card to the top of your deck, or you can put it to your soul. A little bit of OTT here, but hey, why not? Finally, third skill, Auto Vanguard. At the end battle that this unit attack, your opponent's Vanguard is greater or greater, cost counter blast 1, soul blast 3, discard a Genesis card, stand this unit, and drive -1. Basically like the original Minerva, it has 3 stand. The only gripe I kinda have with it is that you have to discard a Genesis card, which does in fact give you some restrictions on how you're gonna be building your deck. But in that, pretty decent. Genesis is the clan of soul charging, so you're already going to get that first skill probably pretty easy. The second skill is pretty good, and third skill is just restand, which is also pretty good. Nothing's too special, but the weird part I have with it is that Angelica is basically the first ride, and this is basically the evolution, so it's just kind of weird that you just kind of skip that and just go to this card right away. And yes, we still have Angelica. But first, before we go to Angelica, we got Apple Witch Cider, grade 1, AK power, and the skill is Auto Rearguard. At the end of this unit boosts, if your Vanguard is Minerva, you may return this card to your hand. What's nice is that you can boost and then just put this back to your hand, become a discard target for Minerva. But anyway, there's also the second skill where auto, when put on Guardian, if your soul has a grade 3 Regalia, this unit gets shield plus 5k into the end of that battle. So it's a returnable booster that is also 10k shield, or you could discard it as a cost for Minerva as well, whatever you want to do with it. Overall, it's just not bad. And now we go to Regalia Wisdom Angelica, which is a grade 3 with 13 power and the skills. Auto Regard. At the end of battle that this unit attack, if your Vanguard is Minerva, cost Soul Blast 1, choose one of your Vanguards, it gets plus 5k power until the end of the turn. Not super great or anything, but what's important is that it's another grade 3 Regalia, and that's what you really need. Too bad it doesn't put itself to soul though, but for Genesis, you can easily just soul charge this through Genesis means. But soul blasting 1 for 5k power isn't really that great in my opinion, even if your Vanguard is getting 2 attacks, but oh well, you have to just run it because it's Regalia grade 3. And finally, before we go off, here's the SNR for Minerva, which of course has the printed watch copy number. And here's the high rarities of Lugia and Maelstrom, which the Maelstrom one just looks awesome in my opinion, but I'm still not gonna get too expensive. So that's it for these reveals. What do you guys think about the presentation stuff and the Minerva Ride line? I am still excited for new products like normal. In fact, that new unit that looks like a witch kind of interests me. And seeing the commercials or ads for Bushiroad's second season stuff and the product one, it's kind of getting a little interesting on what type of units that they were kind of showing, just not too sure what they actually look like yet. And then we got the Minerva Ride line, which is fine to me, not good to build a deck anyway, but it's nice to see it again. And it's really funny that Minerva came in OverDress before it did in V. And in V is known for the remakes, so it's kind of weird to see that. And it's already kind of weird to see Minerva and Lugia as it is for Encounter because they don't play as important roles as Ezel's and Vermillion, even though it is nice to see them again. But I'm just saying it's still weird. But overall, that's it for this, and see you all next time.